If you've gardened long enough, you've probably noticed something strange. The more you feed the soil, the more it seems to ask for. Bagged fertilizers promise miracles, yet beds grow tired, pests increase, and yields plateau. But nature doesn't work that way. In forests, grasslands, and wild ecosystems, soil fertility doesn't run out, it builds, season after season. So, here's the uncomfortable question we rarely ask. If infinite soil fertility is possible, why did we abandon the one method that creates it? On Soilpower, I want to talk honestly, gardener to gardener, about that method, and why rediscovering it can completely change how you grow food. The forgotten engine of fertility is really about returning organic matter to the soil. The method itself isn't complicated, it's not secret, and honestly, it's not new. It's the continuous return of organic matter to the soil in a living biological form, through composting, mulching, leaf mold, fermented plant inputs, and root residues left to decompose in place. For thousands of years, farmers didn't feed plants, they fed soil life. Every crop residue, kitchen scrap, animal bedding, leaf fall and weed was returned to the ground. This wasn't waste management, it was fertility management. When organic matter returns to soil, microbes get to work. Bacteria, fungi, protozoa, nematodes, arthropods, and earthworms break it down layer by layer, transforming dead material into humus. Humus is the engine of infinite fertility. It holds nutrients, buffers pH, stores water, and feeds plants slowly, intelligently, and in balance. As long as organic matter keeps coming back, fertility keeps compounding. Why this method creates infinite fertility. Now, infinite doesn't mean magical, it means regenerative. Each cycle leaves the soil richer than before. When you add compost or mulch, you're not just adding nutrients, you're increasing carbon. Carbon is the currency of soil life. Microbes trade carbon for minerals, enzymes, and plant-available nutrients. The more carbon-rich organic matter you cycle, the larger and more diverse the soil food web becomes. Over time, this leads to something extraordinary. Nutrients stop leaching away, soil aggregates form, improving structure and aeration, roots penetrate deeper, water infiltration improves, mycorrhizal fungi extend the plant's reach far beyond its roots, mining phosphorus, potassium, calcium, and trace minerals that fertilizers can't access. At a certain point, your soil stops behaving like dirt and starts acting like a living battery, charging itself every season. Why we stopped using it. The shift away from this method didn't happen because it failed, it happened because it didn't fit industrial systems. Returning organic matter takes time, it takes observation, it requires patience and local inputs. Industrial agriculture needed speed, uniformity, and transportability. Synthetic fertilizers offered instant results that could be measured, packaged, and sold. But, there was a cost. When crop residues were removed instead of returned, soil carbon declined. Microbial populations collapsed, nutrients became mobile instead of stable, fertilizers had to increase just to maintain yields, soil became dependent, not fertile. Home gardeners unknowingly inherited this mindset. We were taught to fix soil problems with products, instead of processes. The method that builds fertility forever was replaced by inputs that must be reapplied endlessly. Compost isn't the goal, biology is. One of the biggest misunderstandings among gardeners is thinking compost itself is the magic. Compost is powerful, but honestly, it's only a carrier. The real value lies in the biology it introduces and feeds. So, a thin layer of compost, applied consistently, inoculates soil with microorganisms, and mulch on top keeps them alive. Roots growing through the soil feed them sugars, and dead roots left in place become, food highways for fungi. This is exactly why gardeners who compost mulch and disturb the soil less every year notice something pretty remarkable. They need fewer amendments, fewer pest controls, and less water. The system, it actually begins to self-regulate. The goal isn't perfect compost, the goal is a continuous biological cycle. How beginners can start without overthinking it. You don't need acres, animals, or expensive tools. Start by returning everything organic you can safely recycle back to the soil. Kitchen scraps become compost or fermented plant juice. Leaves become mulch or leaf mold instead of trash. Weeds become chop and drop mulch. Crop residues stay where they grew. Even woody material feeds fungi over time. Apply organic matter to the soil surface whenever possible. Nature feeds from the top down. Avoid excessive tilling, which breaks fungal networks and burns carbon. Let the soil organisms do the mixing for you. Consistency matters more than quantity. Small inputs, repeated season after season, create exponential change. Why should experienced gardeners recommit to this method? If you've been gardening for years, chances are you already compost and mulch, right? But the real question is, are you, closing the loop completely? You know, many experienced gardeners still export way too much fertility. They remove residues, overclean their beds, rely on bottled nutrients, or, well, reset soil biology every single season. Infinite fertility, honestly, requires trust in the system. When you stop fighting decay and instead start managing it, your role really shifts. You become less of an applicator and more of a steward. You observe, you adjust, you let biology lead. That's when gardens, well, become resilient. Droughts matter less. Pest outbreaks stabilize. And plants, they finally express their full genetic potential. This is how soil heals itself. What excites me most about this method is that it works everywhere. In containers, raised beds, backyard plots, and even in degraded soils. It doesn't rely on perfect conditions, it creates them. You know, soil wants to be fertile. Our job is simply to stop interrupting the cycle. Every time you return organic matter, you're voting for life over depletion. You're building something that improves with age instead of wearing out. That's not old-fashioned gardening, that's future-proof gardening. Final thoughts from Soilpower. If there's one idea I hope you take away, it's this. Fertility is not something you buy, it's something you build, and once you build it, it builds itself. If this article helped you see soil differently, that's exactly what Soilpower is about. Subscribe to the channel for deep dives into living soil, regenerative methods, and real-world techniques you can use right away. Share this with a fellow gardener who's tired of chasing fixes and ready to grow with nature instead of against it. The soil remembers. Let's help it thrive.